Good morning, students. This class is for students of Law Department, second semester. And in today's lecture, we will be studying consonant sounds. So while learning vowel sounds, we have already learned that there are 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds among 26 alphabets. So 26 alphabets are producing 44 sounds, among which 20 are vowel sounds and 24 are consonant sounds. So today we will be dealing with those 24 consonant sounds. So consonants are distinguished from vowels by what? By their manner of production. The manner of production is different in case of vowel and consonants. So all sounds during the production of which we hear some friction are consonants. While producing consonants, the air passage is either completely or partially closed and the air passes through the speech organs with an audible friction. So when we learned vowel sounds, we saw that there is no audible friction. There is no friction which produces a vowel. But in contrary, while producing consonant sounds, some friction is there through which consonants are produced. Examples of consonants like pa. Pa is pronounced with lips. Ta is pronounced with the front of the tongue, whereas k or ka is pronounced with back of the tongue. Ha is pronounced in the throat, whereas fa and sa is pronounced by forcing air through a narrow channel between the upper teeth and the tongue, and ma and na, which have air flowing through the nose. Okay, so I told you some examples of consonants, the manner of production of which are different in case of each consonant. So, a consonant is produced, and the manner in which a consonant is produced is dependent upon 5 conditions. So, to describe a consonant sound, we need certain important pieces of information. Like, there are 5 conditions on which the production of consonant is dependent. What is the first condition? The first condition is the airstream mechanism. The second is the state of the glottis. The third is the position of the soft palate. The fourth is articulators. Articulators again is divided into 2 types. Those are the active articulator and the passive articulator. And the fifth point is the stricture involved. So, what are the 5 conditions which I have just told you? The first is the airstream mechanism. The second is the state of the glottis. The third is the position of the soft palate. The fourth is the active and the passive articulator. And the fifth point is the stricture involved. I suppose that you already got acquainted with all these terms because we have already dealt with few lectures on phonetics. So at first, the airstream mechanism. So in phonetics, you already know that the airstream mechanism is the method by which the airflow is created in the vocal tract. Along with phonation and articulation, or apart from phonation and articulation, this airstream mechanism is one of the 3 main components of speech production. All English sounds, both vowel and consonant, are produced with pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism, that is, the lung air is pushed out. So, depending on airstream mechanism, consonants are produced. Okay. Now the next point, the next condition is the state of the glottis. Yes. So speech sounds can be classified as voiceless or voiced, right? So depending upon whether the vocal cords are wide apart and the glottis is wide open, which is the condition of voiceless sounds, production of voiceless sounds, or the vocal cords are kept loosely together and they vibrate. And this is the condition of voiced sounds. So depending upon the state of the glottis, whether it is producing a voiceless sound or it is producing a voice sounds, consonants are also produced. Now the third condition, it is the position of the soft palate. You already know that soft palate is also called velar, right? So speech sounds can be classified as oral or nasal. So depending upon whether the vocal cords or depending upon whether the soft palate is raised so as to shut the nasal passage of air, which is the condition of producing oral sounds, or it is lowered to open the nasal passage of air simultaneously with an oral closure, which is the condition of the nasal sound. So, depending upon the position of the soft palate, whether it is producing one oral sound or whether it is producing one nasal sound, one consonant is also produced. Rather, I may say a consonant sound is produced. Now the fourth condition, that is the articulators. I told you that articulators are divided into again two types, that is the active articulator and the passive articulator. So articulators are nothing but organs of speech. Okay. So of the various articulators, at least two are required for the production of any speech sound. Some articulators move during the production of speech sounds, and these articulators which move, these articulators are called active articulators. And the other articulators remain passive. What do I mean by remaining passive? They remain fixed. And the active articulators move in the direction of the passive articulators. So the active articulators, for example, the lower lip and the tongue, these articulators move. And the passive articulators, for example, upper lip, teeth, pharynx, roof of the mouth, these articulators remain fixed. They do not move. The active articulators move in the direction of the passive articulators to produce one consonant sounds. Okay, so you understood what is the role of the active articulator and what is the role of the passive articulator during the production of a consonant sound. Now the fifth condition is the stricture. So what is a stricture? Stricture is the way through which the passage of air is getting obstructed. In the definition of consonant, we saw that some friction, some audible friction or some obstruction is necessary for the production of consonant sound. It is just the opposite in the method of producing vowel sounds. In producing vowel sounds, we do not find any friction or obstruction. There is a smooth flow of air. But in case of consonant sounds, obstruction or one friction is mandatory for its production. So the way in which or the method in which this obstruction is getting created is called stricture. Okay, and this stricture can be done with the tongue or your upper teeth, or it may be done with your tongue or the entire roof of your mouth. Okay, so understood what a stricture is. Now before going to consonant clusters, I hope you have understood that a consonant letter usually represents one consonant sound. Some consonant letters like C, G, S can represent two. consonant sounds at the same time, right? For example, for C, you can pronounce it as both sa and ka. Understood? So there is one exception. As I have already told you that each alphabet or each consonant is producing one consonant sound. What is the exception? Sometimes a cluster of two or a cluster of three consonants are producing one consonant sound. So what is a consonant cluster? A consonant cluster or a consonant sequence or a consonant compound. Three of them are the same thing. It can be told or it can be called by any of the three names. What are the three names? Either consonant cluster or consonant sequence or consonant compound. And what is that? It is a group of consonants which have no intervening vowel. Okay, and consonant clusters cause problems for learners whose first language does not allow so many consonants together without intervening vowel sounds. What do I mean to say? That in a word, in a single word, if there are two or three clusters consecutively without any vowel, then it is called consonant cluster. For example, STR, okay, in case of stress or string, or for example, SKS in case of task. So these three consonants are producing one sound, one consonant sound. So these three consonants which are producing one consonant sound is called consonant clusters. So thank you. Today up to this. In my next lecture, I will be dealing with intonation. Thank you.